is back in session, and so are the seasonal illnesses.
And we're just getting started. We're talking the flu here, RSV, and of course, COVID-19. It's the time of year where doctors see more of these viruses. Dr. Dominic Lucia, Chief Medical Officer at Baylor Scott and White McLean Medical Center, is here to discuss with us tonight. Doctor, as always, we appreciate these Tuesday visits. First of all, with kids back in school, we typically start to see illnesses spreading quickly, and with COVID cases now on the rise as well, what can parents do to keep their kids healthy?
Yeah, it does seem like it's just a fact of nature that when school starts, you're going to see these viruses really come out to play as kids get back together and start transferring it to one another. So I think first and foremost, knowing that kids will get sick, that's not uncommon, particularly with the viral illnesses. The things that we can do to help them from transferring it from one to another, teach them how to wash their hands properly. That's so important. Teach them to cover those coughs, those sneezes. Make sure that you're not a spreader. You know, if the kid's sick and they're running fever and they look terrible, don't send them to school or to daycare to give it to the other kids. And then obviously keep up to date on their vaccinations.
Very important. Now, doctors are always recommending an annual flu shot. So do people also need a COVID shot?
Yeah, really, you need to keep up with all the vaccines that are out there. Those normal childhood vaccines that we've had for decades are just as important now as they have been. The AAP, the American Academy of Pediatrics, does recommend that kids 6 months and older get your annual flu shot as well as the COVID vaccine or booster. Every child's different, so that individualized care, talking with the pediatrician, talking with the family medicine doctor about your child, their risk, and what seasonal vaccines to get is always very important. But yes, we want to keep that up because we expect a challenging viral season as we enter the fall and winter.
Okay, so doctor, we didn't have school for like a year, and a lot of these, problems went away for a little bit, but now they're roaring back. A lot of parents are worried about RSV since we saw a really high number of cases last year. We've recently heard about the RSV vaccine approved for babies. This sounds like a blessing. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's really a breakthrough as far as the care of infants with RSV. So RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, it's really a danger to the little ones, the premature, those under 6 months roughly, and especially the younger, the worse. If you get RSV when you're older than that, or even as a normal healthy adult, it's usually not too much of a problem, behaves a lot like most respiratory viruses. So this really isn't a vaccine for the littles. For the little ones, it's a monoclonal antibody that they actually get an injection, and it provides some short-term protection through the RSV season, which is typically we're entering into that. That's fall and winter time.
All right, so their bodies can have a better chance of fighting that off. That's great
and
news.
as someone who's had little ones that got RSV, it can be very scary for parents. But who qualifies, I guess, for that treatment, doctor?
That's a great question. The ones that qualify for it are infants about to enter or in the middle of their first RSV season, and we talked about that time frame of being fall and winter. And those that are high risk under 24 months, so getting into that second RSV season if they're high risk under the age of 2. And you're right, it is very scary to go through that RSV season, and this monoclonal antibody can hopefully help decrease their symptoms and keep kids out of the hospital because it's a big problem come this time of year.
Well, Dr. Lucia, we appreciate you. Thank you for asking our questions today and wishing you an empty hospital this fall, but we know better. But let's wash those hands, as you mentioned, and keep those kids healthy. We appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.